Now, count them, two of the biggest fuckheads on the internet, this is just one of them, Russell Brand and Jimmy Dore, have both had the ugliest, shittiest takes on Ukraine on day one. And then, in Russell's case, totally hidden from the topic ever since he shit the bed. And in Jimmy's case, just reiterated the same lies he told the day before in kind of a truncated form and tried to bring on other people to go, see, it's still true, even if they are murdering people right now. I'm still kind of true, right? Yeah. So anyways, not surprising to anyone, Ruble Brand had Jimmy Derp on his the podcast that he has, Under the Skin or Around the Skin or something. I don't know. It's based on the concept of an infection, and he plays I guess this is a select clip to make you want to watch more. And by the way, but fuck off. By the way, the title is "The Establishment Are Shitting Their Pants." Apparently, Rob Schmidt from Newsmax is the establishment. Also, that's the title of the video. The establishment are shitting their pants. I mean, the establishment is a boogeyman, or the this establishment is the left-wing version of the deep state. It's the same argument. It's always this mythological dragon that lives in a cave, and if but for slaying it, all of your policy dreams could come true. The deep state is the same shit. It's ridiculous. But I don't know what they're referring to, but this is right in the middle. This is March 1st. This is today. 17,000 views of this thing, 2,584 rumbles. Just kicking Rudy and Bongino's ass, even on Rumble. And I'm sure it's not laundered foreign money. But here we go.
We're living in right now, one thing is positive. The establishment know that if people keep coming together and standing up to them, they do not stand a chance.
The establishment of what? We establish these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal? That kind of establishment? Jesus.
I had a fantastic conversation with Jimmy Dore, fellow YouTuber.
Yeah, and that's why I'm talking like Ali G right now. Booyakasha. Yeah, boy. Why are you doing that? You can tell he's bullshitting when he slips into Ali G.
Comedian, brilliant man, independent thinker. You should watch his...
No, none of those things are true.
And subscribe to that too. He came on my podcast, Under the Skin, and talked about the Democrat Party.
Oh my, what? He came onto your podcast and talked about the Democratic Party? Wow. I mean, talk about speaking truth to power.
And they're betraying people, how the establishment is falling apart. Funny, insightful.
Yeah, he talked about the Democratic Party and how the establishment is falling apart. I'm glad you guys picked your targets.
Well researched. Stay to the end of this clip because I want you to comment. I want to know exactly what you think about it.
That's the standard YouTube sales thing they tell you to do in videos, and I still haven't picked it up. It's a good habit, you know, and that's how you make the big bucks.
I was having high-level conversations with brilliant thinkers. I'm touring all over the UK. You can come see me in Glasgow.
Oh, and an ad for your shows, by the way. I'm going to be at the Park Theater in Michigan, in Holland, Michigan, tomorrow night. Yeah, come see me if you're in Michigan. Also, well, never mind.
Plymouth, Newcastle, Bristol. There's a link in the description to come see me live. You won't believe these shows. They're crazy. Come see me.
Yes, I will believe they're crazy. I think they'll be incoherent horseshit. Yeah.
All right, let's get into this. What?
And this is a meeting of the minds, folks. This is two people who couldn't care more about the plight of the poor. That's why they each have $560 microphones, and in the case of Russell, $200 headphones. And multi-million-dollar houses. But plight of the poor.
seem to you to be the absolute priorities in creating a new politics? You know, like media control, freedom of speech, allocation of funds, real democracy, waking people up. Which is like, I know this is your bread and butter. You do it every day. What would be your priority?
Yes. What do you? Freedom of speech, which we clearly don't have.
And would you address some of the things I said, like that sort of local, like that tax autonomy model and stuff?
Tax autonomy model. Can you just start yapping about whatever you talk about in your show? I really don't watch it, and I really don't know while I sit back and pose. Hello, I'm doing my Jesus.
Let me just say this before I address your question directly, is that, you know, I live in California. Now, California is the 5th largest economy in the world.
No, it's more like the 8th, but okay.
Just the state of California. And we have a supermajority Democrats elected in California to run our state legislature. Supermajority, meaning Republicans can't stop anything the Democrats want to do.
Well, if they all agree on it, sure.
And we also have a Democratic governor. So if you think the fix to capitalism or oligarchy or to the republicanism.
By the way, why would the Democrats be, quote unquote, the fix for capitalism? Like the elimination of capitalism? You don't actually think that's on the fucking table, do you? I mean, at this point, like, I guess this is technically a mask-off Marxist moment. The millionaire Marxist crowd are all big on, yeah, we need to eliminate capitalism now that I have a $1.4 million house and private property.
Corporatism or to any of the problems in your life is voting harder Democrat. This should disabuse you of that idea. There's people.
Yeah, you need to vote Republican. That's exactly the point. You need to tear the whole system down. What we need is a non-functioning government in California that,
under every bridge in California. We don't have student debt relief. We don't have.
By the way, hold on. Oh, this is Rumble. I can't jump back on this. This is annoying. Say that again.
We don't have student debt relief. We don't have. People can't afford to live here.
We don't have student debt relief. People can't afford. We have people living under bridges because our homeless survive, and we have more programs than any other state in the country, and so people tend to move here, and also other states dump them here, and also we don't forcibly incarcerate people for being homeless. So, people.
Unbelievable income disparity. We have a housing crisis, and
by the way, the unbelievable income disparity happens to be the fact because we have Silicon Valley in our state, which contributes to, which is nationwide, a peak of money being made in the service.
Don't have health care in California. So if you think you can vote your way by voting Democrat out of any problem you're in, that is ridiculous. And that's why when people come on your show and say, we got to just vote harder for Democrats to fix it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've got a queen. I do have that. But yeah, tell me how the Democrats suck.
They don't even believe that. That's just a lie. That's no one who is a sentient being who's been alive for the last 6 years. I've been watching politics since 1980.
Yeah, all through the Trump years, the one thing I learned was more Democrats won't help.
Nobody could believe that. That's just a bullshit, 100% on its face. The people who keep telling you to vote for Democrats are people who don't want to actually get outside the polite society that they circle in. You know, they'll say the bubble.
The polite society. Yes, I would like a functioning society full of polite people, as opposed to lunatics and people who live under monarchy who piss on our country from a distance.
If they travel in, they want to stay friends with all those people who are oppressing workers and all that stuff. And they don't want to. That's what that is about.
They want to stay friends with all those people who are oppressing workers. That's why I do it, honestly.
How can we get more?
How can we twist our mustache like a supervillain while Jimmy rubs his hands together like a supervillain? What the fuck?
More control over our government. Now, I mentioned Ralph Nader before, and I said this before I knew he had said this, but in 2015, 2016, I was telling people because the Democratic Party had cheated Bernie Sanders. That's not hyperbole.
It's a lie. They had not. Sorry.
It's proven. People had to step down in shame.
No. They sacrificed some people. He lost on his own.
that they were cheating. Hillary Clinton was literally running the Democrat.
Yeah. Yeah, the Democrats were actually running the Democratic Party, and an independent candidate wanted to run using the Democratic Party as a super PAC, and he had a ceiling of 32% in every fucking poll internally and was never going to win. Still true.
National Committee
Never did.
During the primary, which is, you know, that's fraud. That's unethical.
No, it isn't. It's their party. He didn't stay a Democrat after he joined, did he?
And it should be criminal. So
yes, it should be. Yeah, look at that. Look at the face. Oh, fuck yeah. That should be criminal for an independent, for a carpetbagger to come in and then leave after they lose and then come back and do it again. It should. All right.
Told people is you can't now give your vote to these people. So what you have to do is if everybody.
By the way, this is the guy who, if you watched yesterday's video, called Bernie Sanders the establishment's butt boy. Just to clarify, I don't know if this was taped before that or after. It doesn't quite matter.
For Bernie withheld their vote and told pollsters that they're not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. She would be down 10% in the polls and she'd never have a chance to beat Donald Trump. And so then we would have power. And then the Democratic Party would have to come to us because then they can't win an election without us. So we would.
Right. So what we would do is we would kneecap the Democratic Party without having to create our own party or actually run a solid candidate on his own. And in that case, they'd have to know that if we could basically put the Donald Trump gun to the head of America and go, if you don't do what we say, even though we have a ceiling of 23%.
Forcing some kind of an issue there. And so that's what Ralph Nader was saying all the time. We don't have to win an election. If we can get 10% or 15% of the people,
we can guarantee the Republicans maintain control for decades.
10 million or 15 million people to band together and say, we're not voting for you unless you promise us health care. We're not voting for you unless you promise to end the wars and invest that money back.
We're not going to start our own party because it would never fly, but we're going to hold your party hostage against people who will absolutely destroy. And why am I being told to check Twitter other than just Twitter? Am I right there? About the people showing up on Patreon, is that it? Okay.
We're not voting for you unless you promise to cancel our student debt. We're not voting.
And what happened? Jimmy Dore and the Young Turks and a bunch of those crowd talked about 75,000 voters in 3 different swing states into not voting, like leaving Hillary blank because fuck her, she cheated Bernie. And what happened? Donald Trump was president, and all the joy he brought. And all the deaths that are happening now because we don't need a pandemic response team. And hey, if you don't do what we say next time, even though we don't technically have the votes to get it through the Senate and we do have a democratic government, this isn't an authoritarian government. If you don't do what we're going to say, we're going to let, I guess, Ron DeSantis run the country.
Unless you promise to give us a living wage.
Oh, Andrea, I'll get them into the show. They'll be on the list. Anybody who's a Patreon person, just let me know or let CSL know, and we will get you on the list for whichever show you want to come through, you and a guest. So that's one of the nice things about becoming a patron on Patreon. Whichever show you want, and there will be a meet and greet after every show.
They would have all that power. Now it's up to the Republicans or the Democrats. Which ones do you want? And now it'll be all out in the open. And if neither of them wanted those votes, that's when we'd have another trucker sit down where they would shut stuff down. So this is.
Yeah, that's what we want to do, because when you've got one group that wants to privatize Social Security and dismantle Medicare and Medicaid, and then the other group wants to create the ACA with a public option, but doesn't have quite the votes yet, but thinks that there will be natural steps towards that over time. Basically, you're talking about a lesser of two evils situation. Single payer ACA version, that's evil. So fuck them. Never let them get near the walls of power. What you'd rather have is somebody who you think will burn down the whole fucking system so that people will die. And if 24 million people don't have insurance and a bunch of them die and their kids don't have insurance and they die and a bunch of we continue to have the status quo of massive bankruptcies because of that, then it's the small price to pay for blackmail.
That was my big idea, Russell, that you don't need to get it.
Yeah, it's a fucking stupid idea. You don't have to convince people. What you have to do is blackmail the Democratic Party because they're the only ones who fucking care about people, because you know the Republicans don't give a shit, and threaten them with helping the Republicans kill people.
People in a third party or a major party that could actually win a national election. You just need to get enough people that are like-minded.
That's right. You don't need enough people to actually be able to win a national election. You just need enough to guarantee the Democrats can't, and then
willing to not.
And then you push an idea that 64% of the country will never vote for and make sure that no Democrats get it. And that's a great idea
for those parties. And that's how you influence them. And that's how you can have massive. So we're not going to get anything in the United States without massive public displays of protest, right? Direct action.
Yeah, direct action. That's what it is. And that's basically what Jimmy's show is. It's direct action. He sits in his $1.4 million house that he bought with Russian super chats. And he talks to Russell Brand, who lives in his $4 million house in the English countryside. And this is direct action.
So that's what's happening in Canada. And they don't want to cover that. As you mentioned, they're not covering.
Yes, yeah, they won't. Yeah, nobody's covering the fucking Canadian truckers. Except everybody who fucking well is. And also, what are the truckers protesting but getting vaccinated? They don't want health care. They have health care. These people are avoiding health care.
And if they do, they cover it in a disparaging way because strikes are catchy. When that stuff,
yeah, strikes. I like the idea of strikes because I work for myself and I do movies with Kenneth Branagh. Yeah, strikes. All these shitty people that do all these things, except the delivery driver that brings me Postmates. He can't go on strike. I don't like those kind of strikes, but like factory workers. I don't use factory things, I don't think. I buy all my shirts off Etsy for $800.
See how well that's working? How much that has the establishment shitting their pants? Because they are. They have to stop that soon. And as soon as, if people saw...
And by the way, the establishment is not shitting their pants about Canadian truckers. Honest to God, you think anybody, no one gives a rat. I mean, why would you, for fuck's sake, hold on, where was this? Hold on. There we go. Yes, the establishment is shitting their pants about, oh, open up the page for fuck's sake. Get in there. Yeah, this is making the establishment, you know, the people who've been around for a long time, been through a lot of things, gotten voted for again and again, run and won again and again. They're shitting their pants about this. And it's 10% of 10% of the 10% that are assholes. They're like 10% of Canadian truckers that aren't vaccinated, but they're not all assholes. Some of them have medical issues. Some of them just truck out in the middle of fucking nowhere and don't think it's necessary. Others don't think they are worried about it. And then there's the ones who will line up and block fucking roads so ambulances and delivery trucks can't get through. And that's the argument. That that Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and AOC and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and all these backstabbing traitors are all shitting their pants over this. I mean, it is broadcasting and USA Freedom Convoy. I mean, they're shitting their pants. No, are they? Are they, though? I don't know. I'm trying to do sexy faces. Well, you know, because you're nothing to look at, Jimmy, not like me, yeah? So, I like the ladies watch my show, yeah? That's one of those things, you know? And I figure I'll bring someone on. A lot of my guests look like shit, so I look better by comparison, yeah? That's fun.
We could actually take our power back, right? I said if everybody who worked at you...
Yeah, take up, yeah, our power back. And by our, I mean anti-vaxxer, trucker, QAnon fuckheads.
UPS and Amazon just didn't go to work for 2 days, the whole country would stop. And...
Yes, if UPS and Amazon, the workers, didn't go to work for a couple of days. By the way, these fuckers don't work at those places and daily get packages at their door that aren't really necessary. These assholes have lots of money, so they're not getting their pills through the mail. You get me? These assholes are not getting anything necessary. Every purchase both of these fuckheads make that comes through the mail and that they buy through Amazon, and I guarantee they spend a shit ton of money on Amazon. Like, I would love to see these guys have the fucking chutzpah to show their Amazon order list, their previous orders. Seriously. Do you think they would do that? That's what I'm calling on right now. Russell Brand, Jimmy Dore. I'm calling on both of you to post your Amazon orders. Everything for the last year and a half. Whatever you've ordered. You can black out anything that's like, you know, butthole salve or itch cream or, you know, whatever physical quirks you use to operate in polite society. You can black those out. Everything else. Because I guarantee this, both these assholes have a full fridge. Both of these assholes have A1 healthcare that they get their medicine through directly, or they send an assistant to get it. So if they grind this shit to a halt, if that's really what they want, they're not going to be hurt in this. They got no skin in this fucking game. It's the same thing with the ACA. They're like, fuck the ACA. It didn't have, it wasn't Medicare for all, so it should be, like, vote against it. Never mind the number of people who were genuinely helped by it, who had insurance, who would have been completely kneecapped by medical costs if they hadn't had insurance. Never mind the fact that Biden and Obama were both trying to get the single payer into there as a buy-in, essentially, for Medicare for people. But fuck that. It's not, no. It's not what we want, so nobody gets what they want. Perfect is the enemy of the good, and if you live off the good, my life is perfect, so who fucking cares?
They have to realize their power, but the problem is unions also get corrupted. And so now the major unions aren't really against the oligarchy, they are the oligarchy.
Yeah, so unions are the problem now. But you can't even fucking unionize.
So that's why it has to come from the bottom up. It has to come from the grassroots. And
I'm not in the grassroots, and you're not in the grassroots. We're both millionaires who yap on the internet for a fucking living, who've been doing it for, what, 2 decades now? These guys have never skipped a fucking dessert.
As far as the things that you talked about, like more local level participation where you could see where your tax dollars go,
yeah, I did say that, didn't I? I did bring up the thing about where your tax dollars go. I mean, I don't know much about that. I've got an accountant, and he tells me where, you know, whatever. And I do live in a monarchy, so...
I mean, of course, that is the, if you could start at a local level, that's always the best. You know, we were lobbying here with Ron Placone in Pasadena, California. We would go to the city council meetings and we would lobby our representatives for broadband, right? Why can't we have universal?
Yeah, why can't we have universal broadband? Fucking Biden added that to the infrastructure bill, and he's yet to give him credit for that. Why can't we get broadband? We were lobbying... Fucking so you could have better internet so you could live off the tit of a government provided service and build a business on it for free. Why can't we have fiber optic? Jesus Christ. Like, look what drug him out. Was he complaining about in Pasadena that they don't have enough crosswalks that beep for the blind? Or were they worried about school lunches in Pasadena? Were they worried anything? Were they worried that there were enough bus routes for senior citizens and workers who didn't own a car? No. What did they go to? What were they lobbying for at the fucking better internet? Get fucked, you lazy bastard.
Broadband provided by the city, and how it would save everybody money, and how it actually, and so anyway.
Yeah, it would save us money because we wouldn't have to pay a company for extra usage. And we could just totally run our entire business off of free city internet and suck all the bits out of everybody else's trough, because there would never be, of course, enough at that point technologically for other people to stream shit. So while my show is going on, everybody else's lights would fucking dim.
I'm with you on that. I need more ideas that way.
Oh no, Jimmy. No. You got plenty of ideas. Go down and lobby for your own business self-interest. What more ideas do you need? I mean, it's not like we have a functioning democracy where you can choose your representative by actually fucking voting, and that adults, when presented with an imperfect choice, choose the one closest to the best outcome as a fucking adult.
You know, I haven't looked into it probably as much as you have, but yeah,
he hasn't looked into it at all, Jimmy. He was passing it off to you to blather about. What the fuck?
For that.
Hey, so how did you, like, there's a few more. I mean, I've got questions to...
Yeah, I've got questions. I don't have any answers. I don't know. I fucking hell. Should people... I mean, how many politicians should you set fire to? I mean, I use wood to heat one of the rooms in my house, but only when I have guests and we're having cheese.
The entire hour of content, you'll be astonished to learn I'm a professional person. But Jimmy, I want to know, like...
But Jimmy, tell me, you just told me you've got no ideas. What's your idea for?
A little bit more biographically, like, how did you come to cultivate...
Oh, for fuck's sake. How did you come to cultivate your interesting take on, I mean, what was it? What was the driving force besides you being a self-involved bastard?
Perspective. How do you manage the tension between being an entertainer and...
Well, he just doesn't entertain. Have you seen his show? It's mean-spirited. The best you can hope for is clapter, and he steals jokes from the people on his show and presents them as his own. It's shit. It's basically his show, and then they just do it in a club. It's the same fucking thing. What do you mean balance? It's the same fucking thing. I'm the one with two acts.
You know, an activist, obviously, explicitly in
Yeah, he's an activist. You went all the way down to the Pasadena City Hall to bitch about broadband for your fucking job.
The dedicated way. That's what you are. How do you manage that? That tension?
I mean, what do you do?
How did you cultivate these views?
If you enjoyed that conversation with Jimmy Dore, you might consider some...
Oh, I guess fuck the answer then. There was no answer. I'm just going to assume there was no answer. That's the bailout? The fuck out of here. How can I... Jimmy, how can I be a has-been comedian and pretend I'm a liberal? Yeah. How can I pretend to give a shit and never actually do anything helpful? It's amazing. How do you do that? If you like this kind of fucking thing, please sign up and go to all my fucking shows. $75 a ticket. This cordwood isn't going to chop itself. I got a mate down the street. He's not a mate. I don't talk to him, really. He smells funny. Doesn't smell enough like patchouli. I think he actually eats at, like, working class places. But he comes, like, he doesn't eat organic, okay? So I'm not going to let him on the porch. But anyway, it's not important. He cuts the wood. And that's why these shows are fucking expensive. Don't forget, join my, watch these shows, build your anxiety, get really afraid, understand the world is doomed, and everybody is out to get you, and paranoia, and the establishment wants to destroy everything good, and everything you thought you could trust is total shit, and then take my meditation course. Go to my other channel and learn to breathe, to get rid of the anxiety that I created myself. It's like I'm a drug dealer that runs a rehab on the weekends.
To Luminary when my podcast Under the Skin comes out every...
I'll do that thing. It's always on. And I'm even doing that Ali G fucking dip can flick that I saw, but I don't know what it is. But I'm going to do that.
I speak to amazing, influential...
Apparently, someone told me that if I gesture on camera, it draws more attention. That's right. If I could just... This is the kind of thing that... This is the kind of dynamism that actually makes people interested in your fucking show. That's what it does. I just, you know, I'm Russell Brand. Basically, I want to be Kermit the Frog, but I can't find someone to put 10 fucking straps on my arms and wiggle me around. Yay!
Independent thinkers. What did you make of that? Jimmy Dore, working class.
Independent thinkers? The dude is the intellectual equivalent of a school shooter. He doesn't give a fuck. He's a self-involved bastard, and so are you. This is the lamest anti-democratic bullshit I've seen that isn't in Russian.
Background, brought up by a copper, recognizing that the Democrat Party.
Brought up by a copper and has called for the death of coppers. He's gotten 4 cops shot in the fucking head. Well, no, 3 of them died. I guess they were shot multiple times, not just the head. The other guy's in a wheelchair because he was shot in the head. Yeah, you know, brought up by a copper, so he's always wanted to see one killed. And now he's got a body count. He's one of the few people I could have on my podcast that's had a fucking body count.
Is hollowed out and empty. Do you think that's true? Do you think the Republican Party are any better? Do you think that what Jimmy says is true, that if we start coming together?
Yeah, if I just say stuff that's incendiary and angering and bullshit and just waddle about it and gesture a lot, you'll make a comment and I'll make some money.
Looking superficial differences, forming new alliances, we will terror.
Yes, he's worth, right, Jimmy's worth $4 million. Forming new alliances, he's worth $4 million, I'm worth 12, and he and I get together perfectly. And we want you, who works for minimum fucking wage, plus, to strike. So that we can pat ourselves on the back.
By them. That surely is our future. But that's just what I think. Let me know in the comments below what you
I don't have to. Russell, I don't need to go to the comment section on your Rumble page. I can let you know what I think right now. Fuck you. Fuck you, you opportunistic sap. It's just like, I love how both of these assholes are all about sacrificing everybody else's fucking life from a fucking, on a pile of bodies. Jesus. I'm moving. I'm being physical. Oh.
give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to it. I'm on tour.
No, I'm not. Yeah, we know. You already sold it. Look at this fucking desperate bullshit here. Good Lord. Reminds me of this guy. Hey, look, they got the same fucking beard. Coincidence? I think not. What do you think the chances are that Trump spooged in that hat and there was birthed Russell?